Dynasty Gambit, we are officially moving to one show per week. We are no longer bi-weekly. And today's we have also our guest, Gerson, the G, the Raider fan, the Julio hype train himself, the conductor, on with us. Thanks for joining us today, G's. We're going to have a great time here. Normally we talk about teams, but this week we're going to talk about Dynasty rankings and players who are either owned too much or not owned enough. We'll find out what everybody else here thinks. Let's just go around the room real quick. We have the doc himself, of course, the author and doctor. You can find him on Twitter at TFSDoc. And we have Kyle from Canada, Senra at Senra Says. And, of course, we have G, who does not need any introduction more than what I've given him. I think that's way too much as it is. You can find him on Twitter at FantasyGDFS. What's up, guys?
You got to introduce yourself. You always forget yourself.
Well, of course. You're absolutely right. I am the host, Thomas Tandy. You can find me on Twitter at FFJunkie85. And, guys, without wasting any time, I think we should just jump right into the rankings. So, folks, we're going to be talking about Dynasty rankings here. Kyle, I'm going to kick it off to you. We're going to talk about quarterbacks here. Who would you say are in your top five? Who are your top five quarterbacks in Dynasty currently?
So it's funny. My redraft here is actually identical to my. It's actually to me, it's a top six. So I'll add in the sixth one there, but I think it's a very clear top tier of six. So in order for me, it's Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, and then Justin Herbert. So that's
wow. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. I know in single quarterback leagues, I want to get one of those guys. I know generally single quarterback, wait on quarterbacks a little bit, but I think I would prefer to just go up and grab them. And especially like Dak and Herbert, they're going fairly late in single quarterback leagues. And in super flex leagues, to me, I'll be honest, I think those should be the first six picks. Like I'll take Herbert over CMC in a super flex league. So that's just the way I've got quarterbacks valued there.
All right, G, let's counter that for a second. How do you? Because I'm very curious, your thoughts on this. He has Herbert inside his top six. What are your thoughts on that?
I have Herbert in the top five. So
top five. Wow, we are very bullish on Herbert. Okay, very interesting. Give me some insight as to why. I mean, and Kyle or G, one you can go ahead with this. Give me some insight on why you think Herbert should be so high in Dynasty.
Well, he proved it last year in a pandemic short year. Like no rookie. All the rookies were struggling to get into camps and whatnot. New offense got thrown into the fire week 2 against Kansas City Chiefs. Put up a hell of a fight too. I think the score was like 22-25. I think it was like they lost by 3 points or something. And I mean, we don't know if he told a doctor to puncture Tyrell Taylor's lung, but I don't know if docs know the inside. If you can pay off a doctor, doc, can we pay you off? How much do we got to give you? But anyway, I just think his upside's real. I love Justin Herbert. I thought he could scramble very well. I thought there's some mechanic he needed to work on, but he has weapons. He had Mike Williams. Well, depends if you like Mike Williams or not. I know there's love and hate relationship with him. Keenan Allen. They're tight end. Like while Hunter Henry gone, I still think Donald Parham is actually a candidate to be a breakout tight end. They got Jared Cook there too. What's his name? Austin Eckler, great pass catcher and running back. And with the offense they run, it's a quick go and go with Keenan Allen them there, and he proved it last year. I mean, there was a lot of pressure on him, especially with the Chargers. They were like in a rebuild, like for the future. They moved to a new city and everything. There's a lot of pressure. I think Herbert can take the throne. And with me, I saw what I saw at Oregon. I think he translated very well to the NFL, and he did it. I would either drafted him in the second round in rookie draft, or I would try to get him when I the fab budget, like I don't know what they call it, the free agency acquisition budget, free agent after the draft. I was trying to get him because he's one of those quarterbacks. Like I always say, except this year is different though.
Let me ask you this real quick, and Kyle, let me throw this at you. If you guys have Herbert that high, where do you guys have Burrow?
I've got Burrow at so he's in that next tier for me. So at 7, I've got Russell Wilson. Let me pull up my ranks. I do have them here. Maybe I should actually look at them.
Because Burrow,
I had running backs up, of course, because I'm always obsessed with running backs. So I've got Burrow at quarterback 11. And I mean, he could.
11, but you can make a case that Burrow has better weapons, and you can also make a case that he's going to have those weapons for the foreseeable future. So why is Burrow so low comparatively speaking, to Herbert?
How much does the knee injury come into play with regard to that as well?
I think so. I actually have him lower than 3 rookies, and I think it's almost based on. And I guess maybe with Trey Lance, maybe I should have him at 10 ahead of Trey Lance, thinking he'll probably play more games than Lance. But I have Lawrence and Fields ahead of him. I think the idea there is, yes, I am a little worried about the knee. And you do say better weapons, Hamid, but I'll make the argument against that because, to me, offensive line counts as part of the weapon, right? The ability to protect it. I think right now the Chargers' offensive line looks much better than the Bengals. So, but it's beyond also just what's around them. It's about who these players are and what they were able to produce. And I think with Herbert, there is maybe a bit of worry. Like we saw Baker Mayfield, right? He broke the record for touchdown passes by a rookie quarterback, and then
I believe it was 29, right?
Yeah, and I mean now Herbert has broken that that record that Baker broke.
Right.
And I mean, Baker never really he lost value after that, right? I mean, everyone was drafting him up as basically as a top 5 QB, a little bit like what we're doing with Herbert here. But I do want to say, a couple differences between Herbert and I guess Burrow in general. Their production last year, I think, obviously Burrow had, Herbert had way more attempts just because he played more games. But you look at the percentage numbers. I'm looking especially at touchdown rate. Herbert had a 5.2% touchdown rate, whereas Burrow's down at 3.2. Like 3.2 is pretty bad for a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL. Yards per attempt is 6.7. Herbert's higher at 7.3, so going a little deeper and more efficient as well. So I think just based on those numbers, and one thing that we haven't really seen with Baker is the running, right? Like, I mean, he's got running ability, mobility, get out of the pocket, throw on the run type thing, but actually running to gain yards, haven't really seen that. And Herbert athletically seems a little faster. Like he seems like he could produce more rushing yards consistently. And I think that's another big difference between him and Burrow, because I don't know how much running Burrow's going to do this year. I actually thought that was something that I actually elevated with Burrow because he had kind of shown that athleticism. But now coming off the knee injury and again, the really poor offensive line that we hope will get better. I know that they've got, like last year, they lost a bunch of people to injuries as well. So they had injuries before Burrow got injured. So if, those players come back. And just before we go anywhere else, I would like to, say Happy Canada Day, everyone. I realized I didn't say that in the introduction. I noticed a couple of...
Oh, Canada.
A couple of listeners, viewers here, and perfect for the fantasy BBQ guy, Eric Johnson, to show up. Canada Day, all about barbecues. So appreciate that, Eric, and Josh actually from Front Yard Fantasy, who had me on the show earlier. Shout out to Josh. Thanks for having me on, and that was super fun. And thanks for being here.
Nice,
Hamid.
To add to that real quick, Doc, can you shed some light on Joe Burrow and his injury and why should that be a concern in Dynasty? Me personally, I have Joe Burrow ranked as QB6 in my Dynasty rankings. But yes, I'm very bullish on him, just like J.K. Dobbins, Kyle. But anyway, Doc, can you please shed some light on the injury and why should that be a concern in Dynasty?
Yeah, and I'll be brief about it because I know we addressed it on the Monday Night War Room show, and not a whole lot has changed. Things have progressed pretty well. And, the thing is, it's like, it was a bad injury, but we've seen players come back from this. Ironically enough, Carson Palmer had a very serious similar injury, also a Bengals quarterback, when he got injured in that playoff game way back when. And he came back and did fine. I really don't think this is going to hamper Burrow going forward. I think the line is a bit of a concern, but, football's a dangerous sport. I say it all the time. Guy can get injured at any time. Just takes one play. Tom Brady blew out his ACL, and he was historically, not somebody that we would consider to be injury prone. He wasn't really a mobile quarterback and still isn't. So, this year and going forward, I don't think it's going to be as much of an issue. I mean, certainly it's a reason for mild concern, but I think it's something that recency bias kind of comes into play here. He's a young guy. He's talented. His weapons have gotten upgraded. His line never really was that good to begin with. So game per game basis, he's going to give you a lot of production. And if he gets hurt, he gets hurt. But that's the nature of football. I mean, nobody's invincible.
And before he got hurt, he was actually QB 10 before he got hurt in fantasy last year. So, okay, so moving on as we go through these rankings, guys. So a little shout out. We have Eric Johnson. What's up, fellas? Hey, Eric. Thanks for the what's up. And yes, I'm always trying to be humble. Josh, honestly, he terrified me going into last year. I'm assuming you're referring to Burrow or Herbert.
I think he was saying Burrow.
Yeah, Burrow, and he's also saying Burrow's horrific knee injury drops him for a lot of people.
It's funny because I'm looking at Fantasy Pros expert consensus ranking, and it seems like Hamid, they're more in line with what you're saying. They have him at QB7.
Yeah, so it's 7.
So do you have Herbert ahead of Burrow then?
I actually have Herbert QB7 right. I mean 8 right behind, not too far behind him.
Okay, so, interesting. That you might be one of the few
because I have Burrow higher, just because of the weapons that he has and what he showed last year. I just think I have him higher because of that.
Yeah, I was wondering who you took out of the top 6. Okay, interesting. You might be one of the few that actually does have Herbert ahead of Burrow. But I mean, last year no one had Herbert ahead of Burrow, right? Before last season. Right. So I mean, are we overreacting to 1 year with that? Maybe, but I mean, it's such a great season that I find it hard to believe that he's going to fall down. So I know Gerson and I are kind of banking on the repeat.
And I think Herbert's going to break the compare comp of the Mayfield season, followed by what he has become now, which is somewhat of an Alex Smith, if you want to say. That's what Baker Mayfield really has become right now so far. He's not shown what he's shown in his rookie year so far. But moving on, I got another question for you guys. And Josh, thank you. Yes, J.K. Dobbins love. Exactly. Thank you. And Facebook user says, tell Gerson to buy Ryan Tannehill. I don't know who the Facebook user is, but we'll soon enough find out. So, guys, real quick, another question about rankings for the QBs. While you did your rankings, which QB did you find yourself ranking too low and you feel guilty about it? G, I'll start with you.
Too low? Hold on, let me find my difference on my ranking.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at that too quickly. I actually think I'm pretty...
I know what Doc. Well, to me, it's this. It's Deshaun Watson. I mean, I have him way low, so I'm kind of out on him.
I think that's
okay. Let me ask you something about that because I'm glad you brought that up because I had Deshaun Watson as my QB9 because look what he had last. Okay, so even if let's say worst case scenario, he gets suspended the whole year. Let's just say that, for instance, right? Okay. Look what he had. Can it get any worse than what he had last year? It can't. It's not possible to get any worse than what he had last year. And he still finished as a top 5 quarterback in fantasy. So,
I mean, can I interject here for a second? I don't want to piss in anybody's Cheerios, but we're going on the assumption that I think it's a fair one that he's not going to play this year just because of what he's got pending against him. And anybody to take a chance on that, it would be a PR nightmare. And the NFL has proven they're not about that. Ray Rice, Colin Kaepernick, and a few others. The thing is, he's still has to face these things. If he's found to be guilty or he makes a settlement or whatever, there's a non-zero chance he never plays in the NFL again. So we're kind of from what I was hearing from you, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're going on the assumption, he's suspended for this year and he'll be back and ready to go next year. That might not be the case. So I think you got to take that in.
He might not play this year, and there'd be no suspension, and the suspension comes next year because he's the problem that's working against him is it's not just the suspension. It's he's kind of already said he doesn't ever want to play for the Texans again. If he still believes that, the Texans might not trade him, and then he might just this might be a limbo year, and then any punishment
going to hold on to you, sit the bench.
And they might be thinking that they don't want him getting suspended and taking any punishment. If that's already happening, then have him sit out and they don't even have to pay him the whole year, right? Or there's a holdout or something like that, and then send him off and then have next team deal with the suspension too, right? So there is potential it's more than just a season.
Let me go a different route to give you an example and then come back with a question. Ryan Tannehill with Miami. If we were doing Dynasty rankings today with Ryan Tannehill on that Miami team 4 years ago, we probably rank him pretty in the bottom half, right? Mm-hmm. So let's now this is very hypothetical. I totally get it. It's not realistic, but let's just hypothetically do this. Today, where do you have Ryan Tannehill ranked in Dynasty?
I have him at QB 13.
QB 13.
I actually have him one spot below Watson, if for just for reference sake.
Interesting. Okay.
Quarterback 14.
Quarterback 14. Okay. So this year, where do you go? Gerson, where did you say you have Deshaun Watson ranked?
In Dynasty?
Yes.
Quarterback 12.
Quarterback 12. So that's not too bad. I can't knock too much for that. And you said QB 13, Kyle?
12. Tannehill's 13. Watson's 12. So I'm the same with basically the same as Gerson.
Let me just say this, because I traded for Deshaun Watson in Dynasty. I tried to buy low on him, and the way I bought low is on him. If I had a competing team in a 3-year window, I bought low on him. I went and gave a future first or a future second or a third round pick or something, because I think he's not going to play this year. And if he does, he'll be suspended for 8 games from the commissioner exempt list. And then after that, he'll play his 8 games. But let's be honest here. He doesn't want to play for the Texans. And
he's not going to play. He rather sit out.
And like it's the Aaron Rodgers situation, he can actually do the same thing where he can actually opt out for the COVID reason and still get paid the whole year. And even if they suspend him, I believe if you opt out, your suspension is next year. So he'll get his full paid this year. And let's say he gets suspended next year, 8 games, but at least the NFL, at least the team that's going to trade for him, which still will be a team that will trade for him. He's only, 25, I believe?
25. He's 25 years old.
Yeah, 25 years old. I mean, remember Michael Vick? This guy went to jail and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, but Michael Vick didn't allegedly sexually assault 23 people.
Hey, I'm not saying he didn't.
That's a big PR hit for a team to take. Like it's like the talent is unquestioned. And I'm not saying he did it. He's alleged to have done these things. So the thing is that the NFL has a black eye, get black eye after black eye. It's a PR nightmare for them. Like Colin Kaepernick took a knee a couple of times and he can't get back in the league. You're trying to tell me that there's 32 quarterbacks that are better than Colin Kaepernick right now? Like
Big Ben.
That's what I was going to say.
Well,
Jameis Winston.
I mean,
Jameis Winston is a great point too. So we have examples in the league today that of similar accusations have been made, and they still go on to play. So guys, we do have.
And I will say, Deshaun Watson's more talented than all those people we named.
All of them, exactly. So I do.
Sure. That's where I think I'm leaning with you, Hamid. Like I think. I don't know. You say there's a non-zero chance he doesn't play again. I actually think that's basically a 0% chance. I'm pretty sure he's going to play in the NFL again. It might not be till 2023, right? Like that might be a possibility. He's going to play in the NFL again.
And I am willing to trade for Deshaun Watson in Dynasty today because I will never get a better value, a lower value than right now for him. Because guess what? If that pays off in 2 years from now, I'll happily take that any day. Great thing about Dynasty is he's not going to be your QB1 for 2 years, even if I have to hold and take that chance.
He was a top 5 QB.
We all part ways on that because 2 years for me is too far down the line. A lot of variables are in play, and I tend not to think that far ahead. That's me. I'm not saying you guys are wrong. It's just there's so many things that I don't want to get involved with this to begin with. And then if you're telling me there's a decent chance that I got to wait 2 years on top of that, I'm out. So I get it. I get the value play. It makes total sense. But like for me, I just wouldn't be interested.
All right, guys. So with that said, we can talk about this all day. Let's move on to our running backs. Kyle, I got to start.
Well, actually, I do want to so Gerson, you said you did trade for Watson. What do you remember exactly what you paid to get him?
Yeah,
just as a reference point.
I gave a 2022 first round pick, but you got to keep in mind my team is a championship team. So
you're adding him as like an extra ceiling. Like if you get him, it's great, but if not, like you can compete with him.
Doc loves it.
Well,
which is great.
My first quarterback is the reason why I did it. My first quarterback is Tom Brady. So
okay,
I've never heard of that guy. Is he any good?
Yeah, he's okay. And that's the thing. In a one quarterback PPR league, quarterbacks are not valuable. But if a young dynasty asset becomes really cheap, I'm going to take a gamble on it. And I also have Tyrod Taylor. So
this isn't a super flex league.
No. So Tyrod.
See, I don't know if that's buying low on Watson though, because I'm not sure that any quarterback's worth a first in Dynasty. And if he is, that's his ceiling. So you're not really buying the discount there. To be honest,
you're buying moderately high.
A super flex. Yeah, that's super cheap price for what was a top 5 quarterback just like 7 months ago.
I mean,
but
it's a 16-team league, so like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
some,
that's right.
true. Good point. More
I
quarterbacks.
forgot you don't have the rest of us plebes in the 12 and 14 team leagues. You got to take it to the next level.
Yeah, I know. That makes sense. Because, if that pick ends up being the 116, then it's, super value. Good point.
All right, guys. Moving on to running backs.
Sorry.
Kyle, your dynasty
Why does
running
Kyle always
back.
go first? Why does Kyle always go first, host?
Okay, so do you want G? Let's go with G for a minute. Then.
Why does Kyle always go first? That's all I'm saying. Why does Kyle always go first? Kyle, I love you. Why does Kyle always go first?
I like to be gracious to Canada, man. I mean, I'm a nice guy.
Canada Day, I get it, but
All right, G, let's start with you with running backs. So let me ask you this, G.
I already know you're going to ask about J.K. Dobbins.
Well, that'll be later on. Then my first question, though, is
no, we got to warm up first.
Who do you feel the most iffy about that's in your top 10? Like, who do you trust the least in your top 10?
Jesus Christ. A rookie running back?
What was that?
A rookie running back?
Nope. Overall running backs. Your dynasty rankings.
No, that's who I feel iffy about. And it's not the rookie running back you guys are thinking. It's not Najee Harris.
Oh, it's a rookie running back. So
wait, do you have both of them in your top 10?
No. I have Travis Etienne 10th overall.
Okay. So you do have him ahead of him. Wow.
I have.
So, okay, for the audience, for reference, can you tell us your top 10?
Okay, so my top 10 is hold on, let me make sure because I'm looking at my ADP difference too. So I want to Jonathan Taylor number 1, Christian McCaffrey 2, Barkley 3, Cam Akers 4, 5 DeAndre Swift, and now Hamid just shut up. J.K.
I thought I was high on all those guys. That's amazing. I love that.
Wow, that's really high.
J.K. Dobbins 6, Dalvin Cook, Antonio Gibson, Kamara, Travis Etienne.
Wow.
All right, you get love from me because you and I have Dobbins exactly the same. I love it.
Oh, I thought you didn't.
Can you really quick name your 10? Can you tell us your top 10 rankings?
Sure. So top 2 are the same as Gerson, just reversed order. I have McCaffrey still at 1, Jonathan Taylor at 2. I still have Dalvin Cook at 3. Although I don't hate it having a bunch of those second-year running backs ahead of him. I think they're on the cusp. Nick Chubb at 4, Cam Akers at 5. And this is where it gets messy for me. Right now I've got it Saquon at 6, Alvin Kamara 7, DeAndre Swift 8, Ezekiel Elliott 9, and Derrick Henry 10. Ooh. Even Najee Harris 11, J.K. Dobbins 12, Clyde Edwards-Helaire 13, Austin Eckler 14. Like for me, 6 to 14. That's all.
It's just a glob, you know.
Like I don't really care which one of those I get. Like I think that I could mix up the order pretty much on all of them.
So let's talk about Swift. I think so I'm gonna say it right now. Swift is actually my RB 14 in Dynasty. I'm very low on him, and that has more to do with the offense that the way the team is comprised currently. It's hard for me personally to at least trust in Dynasty for the next couple of years that organization is going to be able to put a good offense together for Swift to be a top 12 running back in Dynasty for me. So because of that, and I think, Doc, this goes back to our Jared Goff conversation.
You just hate the line. You hate the entire Lions offense. Hamid you're watching. Hamid would be very pleased if you would all just go out and shoot yourselves.
We are not advising that, please.
Yes. Thank you, Gerson. Thank you, guest, for making the disclaimer there.
All right,
please don't do that. Hamid wants you to do that, but don't do it.
Can you explain your thoughts about DeAndre Swift and why you have him where you do have him?
Okay, so DeAndre Swift, when he got the opportunity, he legit took it all, like all the usage and everything. He performed. And people telling me that he can't catch a football, I dare you to go watch a YouTube video because apparently, since you don't watch the game, which I watched the game on Sunday because of DFS, and when he caught that wheel route, it was up, out, around, and over the Washington football team defender. That showed me, dude, DeAndre Swift is like a wide receiver running back. The other thing is, I don't know what I love you, Hamid, but like their offensive line is actually a top 10 offensive line, in my opinion.
I think they were 12th last year in adjusted line yards. So.
And they're only improving every year. All their offensive lines are improving. And when you add Penei Sewell,
Close enough.
Yeah. So when you add him, I mean, their line's only going to get better. And now, don't tell me about Jamal Williams. I don't care about Jamal Williams. I don't care about them.
I gotta interject on that one because this is why I think it's important that you should care because of the timing. And I heard this from somebody else. I want to give credit where credit is due. Guys over at the Fantasy Stock Exchange, they made a really good point. Corey and Danny, they said that at this time of the year, all you hear about different teams is things that are positive. David Montgomery is going to exceed his 2020 output. This guy's primed for a breakout. This guy's in the best shape of his life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. However, when you hear something negative, that's the stuff you should pay attention to. And Anthony Lynn, it feels like confirmation bias. I like DeAndre Swift. I like him a lot. I know you love him. I'm not saying he sucks. I'm not saying he's a bad person. Like I like him, but nobody asked him anything. He just said, I want you to know that Jamal Williams is going to be involved in this offense. So it's like, as much as we might want Jamal Williams to evaporate, like it's not going to happen. And he's going to be involved, and that's going to take away some of his productivity, which doesn't mean that you shouldn't take him, which doesn't mean he's not a good value where he's going in like the third round, in redraft and best ball and things like that. I think he's a great value. I have him on some of my teams. However, it's still something to pay attention to. And the narrative of like he's going to ascend and be like this bell cow back, I just don't know if that's realistic.
I will say,
yeah.
Go ahead, G.
No, I guess I should say, I understand he's there. Like I did phrase that wrong. I don't care about him. But here's the thing. I think eventually talent will beat out usage. Like he'll get the usage. And that's what happened last year. AP was there. Who else?
Kerryon Johnson.
Kerryon Johnson. And I liked Jamal Williams. I mean, I thought he was a great backup running back to Aaron Jones. But the thing is, to me, is this. They don't have a defense. That defense is horrible. It ain't not good. So they're going to have – and he's a much better pass catcher. Well, Jamal Williams is not a bad pass catcher, though.
I was going to say, don't say that.
They're both going to be involved. I guess that's the point. They're both going to be involved as much as we may not like it.
I think so.
Okay, well, before we move on to Swift, because I want to cover some other running backs real quick. So real quick to all three of you. Do you guys see DeAndre Swift as a 3-down back for Dynasty? G, yes, no?
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Doc?
This year?
Dynasty-wise, if you were to rank him, is he a 3-down back for you?
I think he can be. I don't think he will be this year, though, but I think he can be.
Right. What do you mean by 3 down? Is he going to be because the way I see it, it's probably going to be Swift gets series, Jamal Williams gets series. Because here's the thing. Jamal Williams, we know what he's done in Green Bay. And even though he's been there getting touches, Aaron Jones has still been a top 5 back each of the last 2 seasons, right? Sure. So it's not as if like Jamal Williams got work and he got carries, he got receptions, he got targets, and yet Jones was still able to do that. So I think that's the point. All
right.
Last year.
Go ahead.
I answer the question. Yes, I think he is. I think he is a 3-down back, and yes, he might come on for some pass catching downs, but ultimately, like Swift last year as a rookie caught how many was it? 46 passes, 46. Right on 57 targets. Playing as basically the number 2 guy, because really Adrian Peterson was the lead back. I think what's changing is Jamal Williams isn't as talented as Adrian Peterson. Let's get that idea out of here, right? Like right now, DeAndre Swift is the most talented back in that backfield, and
I think
maybe this is assuming. Maybe this is assuming. Sorry,
I think Jamal Williams is a better pass catcher than Adrian Peterson.
Oh yeah,
I think you and I are better pass catcher.
I don't know. Maybe. So, I think Jamal Williams is a better pass protector. But yeah, so I think my quick point is that Swift got 8 touchdowns last year on 114 carries. Like he's going to get way more carries than 114, and he should still be involved in the passing game. So yeah, I view him as a 3-down back.
I'm just saying, let him drop to me, please. Second round,
I took him too. He dropped to me, and I scooped him up. So I'm happy doing that too. I just wanted to interject a little sanity into the DeAndre Swift is runaway freight train.
Over under 55% snap share for DeAndre Swift. G.
Over.
Kyle. 55%.
I'll say over.
Over.
Doc. Over. Okay, G. 60%. Over under.
Okay, so they have DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams.
Jamar Jefferson's basically the third guy.
Jefferson. I'll still say over.
Is Barry Sanders going to come and take some carries?
That's my limit.
I think, I'll say under. I think it'll be right around like 58, 59%.
Doc.
I'm with these guys. I'm right there. Like 60 is kind of like my number. Like it's going
to. But I think DeAndre Swift's going to be second on this team in targets.
I will not argue that. Although, why is
very
everybody
well
sleeping on Tyrell Williams? But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. Another day conversation. All right, Kyle, question to you. Which running back that you have ranked outside your top 12 that you feel like can crack the top, that has the best chance to hit RB1?
Well, I have David Montgomery at RB17 in Dynasty, and he's been given like 240 carries every season, so that does seem like one where maybe I should have him a little higher. So basically, just on that, I think it's that he's got a pretty safe floor, but is the ceiling there? Can he be a top 5 back? And I mean, he was last year, right? So, but was that his ceiling? Like, so I think with the amount of carries he's at least been shown to get each of his first 2 seasons, I'm thinking he'll be right around that 240, 250 carry again. So I think from a safety standpoint, from a floor, I think he's safest to be an RB12. But the reason I have him at 17 is because I'm not seeing the top 5 upside.
G, what are your thoughts about David Montgomery? You seem like you happily concur with him. You were telepathically motioning for those watching, agreeing with Kyle.
I mean, I think I've told Kyle I respect him a lot in the past. I always watch his shows. I love hearing what he says. And every single time we see ranking that we talk ranking, it's either we're only off by it. And I have him at running back 20. And the reason why I have him running back 20 in Dynasty, 1, his contract's going to be up. 2,
yes.
He's getting Coleman back. They drafted what's his name? Oh man, the rookie running back,
Khalil Herbert.
Yeah, Khalil Herbert.
I'll be honest, I'm not worried about Herbert.
I'm not either.
But what I'm worried about is Justin Fields. The guy can run and steal some workload from him. But I'm more worried about Cohen coming back. He's gonna get a lot of reception still, and that was the thing that put Montgomery a lot like high up there, reception. And we know what rookie quarterbacks do. They love those hot route running backs on the swings, or hey, save me, But Montgomery, great if you could. And I think we talked about this last show with Kyle, I believe, and Doc. If you can, sell him. But Montgomery is that guy that, if he goes up there top 12, it wouldn't shock me because he already done it.
All right, guys. Quick question. We move on to our next running back. David Montgomery, over under snap share. Last year he had 76.2%. This year, over under 60. G.
60? I'm gonna go over. No, I'm gonna go under.
Kyle.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go over. I don't think it gets to 65%, but I think just over 60 is probably a good number.
Doc.
I'm with Mr. Senra.
All right. One quick stat about David Montgomery for those concerned about Tariq Cohen just coming in and then all of a sudden magically taking the passing work. David Montgomery last year ranked 3rd best in pass blocking amongst all running backs according to PFF. He was ranked 83.9. So that is 3rd best amongst all running backs. So to assume that Tariq Cohen is just going to come in and just take over his pass network, yes, he'll take that work away, but I don't think it's going to be enough for me to keep David Montgomery outside my top 16. He is my 16th ranked Dynasty running back, but he does have the upside, like Kyle is saying, to be that RB1. I think the volume will be there enough. He's not going to be efficient because he never was, but I think it's going to be enough for him he has the chance, the upside to hit, to finish around RB8, 9. I don't think he's going to have a top 5 finish again.
And I guess he could reach like 65, even 70% snap share if Cohen's being used on the field at the same time. Like if they design the offense where both running backs are together, that might also help. But in a sense, that might also hurt Montgomery. That he might be on to pass protect, and yet Cohen's the one seeing those targets. So
hey Doc, don't be drinking anything right now. Don't even take a sip. But I'm gonna admit it, dude. Like I think I might be wrong on this one. Like I think he might actually get more than that 60. He might get. I was right. You guys are right. I might have to look at this.
Are we changing the G's mind live on the air?
You guys are watching growth and progress here. This is a seminal moment on the Dynasty Gambit. I love it.
Oh my God. I think I need to shed a little tear out of respect. The man can admit where he feels like he might be wrong.
He's a real man.
I respect you guys. I might have to
the feeling is more than mutual, my friend. Believe me.
All right, guys. Doc, I got to throw a question at you, man. Which running back? So, about Saquon Barkley, I think we talked about this a couple of shows ago, but I do want to talk about this a little bit more.
Okay.
The Giants are saying they're going to not give him a full workload out of the gate. They're going to work him up for full workload. given the injury that he did sustain, which was a significant injury, there were multiple injuries that he suffered in that game. How much concern from a dynasty perspective do you feel like owners should be aware of? And should that bank into his ranking? I have him as a top. I have him actually. He is my RB5 in dynasty. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
It doesn't change anything for me. I think the only thing that it really affects is this year coming up, because Devontae Booker currently is owned in only 54% of dynasty leagues right now. And if Saquon isn't ready to go, which by all accounts he may not be, Devontae Booker could be a top 24 play for 1 to 3 games to start the year, and any games that Saquon Barkley might miss during the year itself. Now, that in and of itself has value because those are anywhere from, at least one game, but maybe way more that, you could plug him in as an RB2 or a flex play essentially for nothing. I mean, 46% of leagues he's sitting out there on waivers. So that's the thing that I think is affected. It's not, as far as Saquon's dynasty rankings, I'm not worried about that at all. When he comes back, he will be Saquon Barkley. But in the interim, who benefits? And I think Devontae Booker is one of the players that would benefit a lot and is not currently owned in the majority of leagues.
Yeah, because I'm looking at, their running back depth chart is Elijah Penny, Corey Clement. I'm pretty sure they signed Reichwell Armstead, and then they have the rookie Gary Brightwell, who was a 6th-round pick, right? Like it seems very clear that Booker is the clear number 2. He's much more talented than all of them. Right? I'm not seeing Elijah Penny coming in here and taking snaps away from Devontae Booker. So, if Barkley's out for a week or two, Booker's probably a workhorse for those weeks. So, yeah, I definitely think he should be rostered in most leagues, to be honest. He gets in that territory. Like, everyone loves Alexander Mattison, right? Like, Alexander Madison's rostership every year is 90%. Everyone has him as that main handcuff.
Yep.
Like, why isn't Booker that too?
Yeah,
and Booker's actually shown it in the NFL. I know that first year when CJ Anderson got hurt when he was with the Broncos, and he kind of took over, and it wasn't great efficient, but it showed he could handle a workload. Like, really, Alexander Madison's never shown that. So,
right,
and Booker should definitely be rocked.
He hasn't really done much with them.
Yeah, no, exactly. Either poor efficiency performances, or he's gotten hurt right at the time when Cook's gotten hurt and not been there, and forced us to start Mike Boone, which was a huge mistake in a championship game that cost me.
Not good for anyone.
All right. So, quick question for about Saquon Barkley. G, can you repeat where do you have Barkley ranked in Dynasty?
Third.
Kyle, where do you have him ranked?
RB6.
RB6. Everyone, keep in mind, the 2 seasons prior to last year, so 2018 and 2019, he was top 6 in points per game in fantasy. So don't forget, don't have recency bias. Yes, injuries are always going to be concerned, especially with the lower body. We totally get that. He's young, and the good thing, I hate to say this, but even though he got hurt, the good thing about the injury was he got hurt really early in the season. So it's not something that we have a lot of question marks about. He's already showing up to practice. They're just going to work him up slowly. I think his value should not change in Dynasty, and he should be back to RB1 status. He may not have that year 1 because he's coming back from the injury, but moving forward, I don't think it should be a concern. And all you owners out there who own him, don't sell him. And all of you owners who don't have him, try to buy him cheap if you can, but good luck because the smart people are not going to sell him. All right, guys.
The little concern with Gerson had with Montgomery, Barkley's entering the last year of his contract, right? But I also wonder if he leaves, that's probably not the worst thing for his fantasy value. He might go to a better offensive line, a better offense in general. So take a bit of both there, I think.
And Kyle, to your point, also another question mark, and this is why for me personally, I'm not drafting Saquon Barkley. Concern is, remember, in Dynasty, you have to think about not just the player, the organization, the team around him. What does that look like? Daniel Jones, we don't know what to expect from Daniel Jones. The guy has a terrible touchdown-interception ratio, and he's fumbled the ball. He leads the league in fumbles in the past 2 seasons. So that is a major concern as well. There's going to be, if Daniel Jones not improve, which I don't think he will, and I'm a Giants fan, I think that's going to be a problem.
Are you?
Listen, man. All right, I'm an unbiased Giants fan. I can put my Giants fandom aside for fantasy. Okay.
Derek Carr, quarterback 1. Derek Carr, quarterback 1.
You might be a hyper biased. I don't know about unbiased. You might be hyper biased. You're just biased in the other direction. All right, watch. Everybody watch. I'm going to say 2 words. Let's watch Comet's head explode. Ready? Evan Ingram.
No. Oh, my God.
We're not talking tight ends yet.
Yeah,
Why
let's not.
is he relevant? No,
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
no relevance.
It's very unbiased take.
I mean, it's not like
back to you.
it's not like he should be on waivers. He's still a starting tight end.
He is starting tight end, but he is not somebody you should trust as your tight end one. Anyway, let's
I
move
agree.
on to wide receivers, guys.
Okay.
So, Doc, I think I have your permission to start with Kyle on this one.
Okay. Well, why not? You do it every other time. Kyle, no offense. I love you. I love
Every
your
other
takes.
time, so that's 50%.
Love you too, Doc.
All right,
Well, I
Kyle.
mean, every other time but this one. But go ahead.
With all the wide receivers ranked inside your top 20, let's go with 24. How many Cowboys are inside your top 24?
Ooh, interesting.
Good question.
I think 2. Let me see where Gallup is. Oh, wow. Yeah, I've got Gallup
you
at
might have
wide
a feature
receiver
in this
39.
That's a really good question.
That seems low. I may need to revise that, to be honest. But yeah, I've got both Cooper and Lamb in the top 24.
Where do Cooper and Lamb fall for you?
Lamb's at wide receiver 11, and Amari Cooper is... Oh, maybe he's not in the top 24. Where is Amari Cooper? Oh, no, there he is. Wide receiver 16. So actually,
Okay.
5 spots between the two.
Gee, how many Cowboys do you have in your top 24 and where?
Well, first off, so before we get into this, I want to say this. We've been talking Dynasty, this whole show and everything. I'm going to tell everybody this. The biggest followers in all of our Dynasty rankings are any Green Bay player. Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, maybe not Robert Tonyan because he's probably not up there. But let's put that out there. But you're going to be shocked as shit when I tell you how high I have CeeDee Lamb. I love CeeDee Lamb. But I have 2 wide receivers of the Cowboys in the top 24.
I guess the next question
Okay.
is, where do you have CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper?
CeeDee Lamb, you ready for this?
Wide receiver. He's in the top 5, isn't
Wide
he?
receiver 3. Watch him say wide receiver 3. Doc says 5.
3.
Oh, wide receiver 3.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I don't think you're the only one. I've heard some rumblings
that's cool. I
of some
like
people have him as the wide receiver 1 overall in Dynasty, right?
I
At least
like
that was
it.
kind of showing last year as he was producing with Dak. So it's not unheard of.
I don't
Okay,
know.
he is my wide receiver 11 in Dynasty, CeeDee Lamb.
Okay.
But, gee, I have to throw it at you. That's a bit – I have not seen anyone as aggressive on CeeDee Lamb as
That's
you
bold.
are.
I like it.
So,
I like
that
it.
is very bold. But let's see if you can back it with with a proven concept. What would that be? Because you're saying – who are your first 2?
A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson.
Okay, which means you have CeeDee Lamb ranked ahead of Devontae Adams. I'm assuming because you're concerned about Aaron Rodgers. Tyreek Hill.
No,
Diggs.
I love Tyreek Hill. My only worry is injuries, and he's inconsistent. That's my biggest.
So,
What,
so
is
when
he
you
4?
rank, you're going on a per game basis as well, you consider?
So I have Tyreek Hill at actually I have him at 6.
Okay.
So it's just I have him at 6. Number 4 is actually DK Metcalf. Number 5 is Devontae Adams. I have a reason why I have DK Metcalf at 4 though.
Okay, let's start with CeeDee Lamb. Explain why. Explain yourself.
Okay.
Why do you have him at wide receiver 3?
So I just want to remind everybody before Dak Prescott got hurt. And by the way, my quarterback 1 in redraft is Dak Prescott.
There's no argument there. That's a fair. That's a very reasonable.
But it's just I want to remind people: CeeDee Lamb, he was on pace for 86 catches, 1,300 yards before Dak Prescott got hurt. He finished as wide receiver 24 in his rookie year last year. Lamb was a wide receiver 12 with Dak Prescott in his rookie year, and now this year they're gonna basically. That defense didn't improve that much. It improved slightly, maybe because they drafted a cornerback. But I'm telling you guys right now, Vanderish, he ain't getting better. And they drafted they didn't draft a cornerback. They drafted Mike. What's his name? They did, right? They drafted a cornerback.
I'm trying to.
No,
Dude,
they drafted Michael Parsons.
Parsons.
Yeah, they drafted Michael Parsons. But I'm telling you right now, they're gonna get scored on for sure. And CeeDee Lamb was on pace for that. Without Dak Prescott, with Dak Prescott healthy, I think that offense sky's the limit. And his dynasty ranking, when I take age and everything into a factor, CeeDee Lamb to me, I always thought CeeDee Lamb was the next DeAndre Hopkins, and that's my comparison to him. I love CeeDee Lamb. Last year I had CeeDee Lamb over Jerry Jeudy. Last year I actually had CeeDee Lamb number 2 overall in dynasty rookies. I had number 1 with Jonathan Taylor. Number 3 with CEH. And people were shitting on me. Like even Jeff said it. I think there's a mistake on your ranking. I'm like, I don't think there is. And then he goes, no, I'm serious. Look at your rookie ranking. You have CEH number 3. I'm like, no.
I'm not gonna name names, but I totally remember someone after the draft had Jerry Jeudy as the rookie number 1, right? Even above Jonathan Taylor. So for you to have CeeDee Lamb at 2, I don't really have a problem with that, to be honest.
All right, guys. So let me ask you guys this now. I'm going to throw some wide receiver duos out there. Which one would you have over Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb? Kyle, I'm going to start with you. Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp.
Wait.
So what are we doing? But you're asking us the duo. We name which one of the duo we have.
Which one of the duo would you prefer?
Okay.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper.
Kyle.
Oh, which duo we prefer?
Which duo would you prefer?
It's got to be the Cowboys. I've got Cooper at 16, Woods at 17, and I've got Cooper Kupp lower than that. So yeah, I've got both the Cowboys duo higher than both the Rams duo.
Cowboys.
AJ Brown, Julio Jones.
Hold on, dude. I gotta look at my ranking.
I can go first. I'll take the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's easy. Cowboys. Julio's like,
yeah. 32. Kyle.
Well, yeah, I've got AJ Brown higher than CeeDee Lamb, so I am tempted to say that side. But yeah, I think Julio might be just too low. Oh boy.
Where do you have Julio? Because I love Julio.
Wide receiver 29.
So you have Julio, wide receiver 29.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, it's yeah. I think I'll say Brown because I've got AJ Brown as my wide receiver. I've got him 4 right now.
So now the Titans are the duo is the one that you would take over CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper in Dynasty.
Yeah. If it means I get AJ Brown, I'll do that. Yeah.
All right. How about this one now? Calvin Ridley and Pitts. Would you take them over the Cowboys duo? If you're stacking 2 players in your lineup, are you stacking the Falcons duo or the Cowboys?
Well, I think the value and position differential might make a difference because if you go to tight end Kyle Pitts, right now he's being valued as a top. I don't agree with it. A top 3 tight end.
He's my tight end 4 in Dynasty.
Yeah, and then you go to wide receiver and you have Calvin Ridley, who is I believe at least. I mean, I don't have Calvin Ridley that high. I have him number 9, but people have him like top 5, and I'm like,
I have Calvin Ridley as my wide receiver 11. 9 in Dynasty.
So I'm the high one. I have my wide receiver 8. So I'm the Ridley truther here. Yeah. But even as the Ridley truther, I'll say the Cowboys because I think from year 1, I think I'd rather have Cooper and Lamb in my lineup scoring more points. Although Cooper's not really consistent, but I think I'd rather have that duo in my lineup than Ridley Pitts. Year 1.
Still waiting on the answer, G. I know Kyle chimed in, but I still want your answer.
I think I'm gonna have to go. I'm not going with a tight end. I just can't. I don't value tight ends that much. So I'm gonna go the other way, man.
All right, last one, guys. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Kyle.
Over the Cowboys ones?
Yeah.
I think this is pretty close to the same thing for the Titans, right? I have Jefferson higher than Lamb, so I'm going to say the Vikings.
G. All right, let's think about it. Doc, what do you think?
That's the Cowboys for me. I'm not feeling fucking like 37 years old.
Actually, yeah, 35 is where I have him. I have him even lower than
It's the Cowboys for me. Just the combination of that, plus they're looking to do better in the short term. So I'll take them.
So, Doc, I think you picked the Cowboys over all 4 duos I said. Yeah. And G, I think also all Cowboys. Kyle, you went with the Titans and the Falcons over the Cowboys.
Dude,
Vikings. I went with AJ Brown. Basically, I went with AJ Brown and Justin Jefferson. Yeah, those are the reasons.
If I had a clown mask right now, I would take off the Raider hat, and I'd be like, "This is what it feels like to be a Cowboy fan every year." TV, let's go. Dak Prescott, let's go. You know that meme. Put the mask, first paint layer, and then the next paint layer. That's gonna be me in fantasy. Like one of these weeks on the Sunday show, Hamid, I'm just gonna be like, well, I think last year you remember me saying that Kansas City, stack this, stack that. Every week I'm probably gonna be like, stack the Cowboys.
And you'd be surprised.
I always say fantasy sports make strange bedfellows sometimes. You end up rooting for teams that you wouldn't think. going into the year.
All right, guys, we got to move on to tight ends. All right, guys, tight end time. I am actually going to start the tight end show here. All right, so in Dynasty, I'm going to start with my top 6 tight ends in Dynasty. My number 1 tight end is George Kittle, followed by Darren Waller, then Travis Kelce, Kyle Pitts, followed by Hockenson, and Mark Andrews. Those are my top 6 tight ends. Now, G, you're giving me the stare. So I'm going to have to start with you on this. What is your concern with my top rankings here? Kelce is at 3, so he's not low. But the biggest issue I've had with ranking Kelce is his age. His talent is 100%. I have no concern with it. The age, I even thought about ranking him low, like tight end 5 almost, but I didn't. I feel like he has at least 2 or 3 more elite years in him. And I think 3 is stretching. I think 2, he's locked in for. So, G, since you gave me this tier, I'm going to let you start with this. What are your thoughts about that ranking? And where would you, in comparison, have them ranked?
I mean, your number 1 shocked the hell out of me. Like, I get Kittle. Like, I like Kittle. But the thing is, I think usage is king. And they're going to get Brandon Ayuk. I mean, Kittle's coming back, and he's going to be dealing with Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. I think Sermon will be there to be the runner, but they'll still have wide receivers. You guys know how the running backs are in freaking San Francisco 49ers. Everybody gets touched. And there's always a pass catching running back. I don't think Mostert is going to be on that team when it comes to the end. But to me, it's this Kittle, dude, he's not young. A lot of people think he's young. He's 27, I believe, right?
I think so. I thought 26, 27.
To some of us, that is young.
Yeah, he was 27.
So he's 27. But if I'm going to get my number 1 dynasty tight end, I'm just going to get the guy that got 2 or 3 more years than him to at least produce with the best quarterback in the NFL for 1,000 yards. I think he's going to get 1,000 yards for at least 2 more years and 80 catches at least that I know has been healthy as hell. Kittle have had some serious injury. Doc, I mean, does Kittle injury history not worry you at all for tight end?
Gee, you're speaking gospel to me right now. It's like you're talking about like 2 or 3 more years of production as opposed to Kittle, who hasn't, he hasn't really put it all together yet. Not to say that he can't, but I'm all aboard. And guys, like we've talked about how I play, like thinking 3, 4, 5 years down the line is just too much for me. Like there's too many variables. I can't see that far ahead. It's like I'm old. I'm short-sighted. I can only see the next year or 2, and that's worried about. And then when we get into the actual games, I want to reference this because I listened to on Gladys' show, and Kyle's a really smart guy, and he said something that really resonated with me. I want to read it back to you. Kyle, you said that once the season starts, you treat all your leagues, whether they're redraft or dynasty, the same. Now, why is that?
Wow.
Well, when it comes to lineup setting, right? When I'm looking at my lineups on Saturday, it doesn't matter to me if it's a dynasty or redraft, right? I'm trying to set the best lineup possible.
Because you got to win the game that week, right?
Yeah. It's a weekly game, not a yearly game.
At the end of the day, no matter what league you're in, you can have the best roster, you can have the best potential or whatever. You still got to go out there and put players on the field that are going to score points and win you that week. Otherwise, none of this means anything. So that's what I'm talking about. Like Kelce, he's number 1 with a bullet because he's the guy that has the track record. It doesn't matter how old he is because for the next couple of years at least, it looks like he's going to be able to do it at an elite level. If you're thinking further down the road than that, I think you're looking too far. You got to look at the path in front of you. You can see the cliff coming 100 feet away, but you might step in the pothole that's right in front of you. You got to do both. You can't always just be looking 4 years down the road. Sometimes you got to play this week.
But I will say though, I mean, George Kittle 2 years ago, 2019, finished with identical points per game to Travis Kelce. So you're making it sound like Kittle's never been like an elite difference-making tight end. He has.
No, I'm not saying that at all. And that was the year that he set the record, right?
So what were the weapons he had though at wide receiver? That's my.
question. Emmanuel Sanders, Deebo Samuel. Really, I mean, all that's the only difference is you replace Emmanuel Sanders with Brandon Ayuk. Really,
well, let me throw another wrench in there. Look at the quarterbacks he's played with, and still being able to produce. This is more. My ranking is more based on. Trey Lance is my number 1 quarterback amongst all rookies this year. He is ranked ahead of Lawrence for me.
You almost
So-
gave me a heart attack. I thought you said the number one quarterback. I was like,
Rookie. He meant rookie. Yeah.
Yes, amongst the rookies, he's ahead of Lawrence. He's number one, followed by Lawrence for me. And I can argue Justin Fields ahead of even Lawrence, but that's for another discussion. So it's a testament to my ranking of Lance and my impression of what he's capable of doing is why I have Kittle ahead. And it doesn't hurt that Kittle is 28 years old. So I know the doc did mention age, and yes, he does have an injury history, but I am projecting, of course, and we can't predict injuries, so we have to project based upon and rank based upon.
I would take exception to that, but that's as you would say, that's a conversation for another time.
Right. So, but it's a testament to Trey Lance, and my ranking of Trey Lance is why I have Kittle so high.
Can I get a hot take? It's not me being a Raiders fan. I think Darren Waller provides a better value in Dynasty than George Kittle.
I mean, if he's cheaper, sure, because I mean he's right up there too in points per game, right? I've got an elite. My top tier of tight end is those three.
Yeah, exactly.
Gerson, I also have Kittle at 1, though I will say, just because honestly, last year, and I saw this in startups, 2020 startups, Kittle was going ahead of Kelsey every time. Now, 1 year later, when Kelsey's 1 year older, suddenly it's flipped. And yes, Kelsey had an amazing season last year. Kittle was hurt. Right? So I think 2019, again, they were at identical points per game, 15.9 points per game in PPR. So, I mean, if I know that they're capable of producing essentially identical, like, I mean, because like last year, what Kelsey did is even unusual for Kelsey. Like, he was more efficient than he's ever been, more touchdown scoring, right? So with is Kelsey going to reproduce that exact same season he has last year? He needs to be a difference maker over Kittle. Otherwise, I'll take the guy that's 5 years younger. So that's why I have Kittle at number 1 still. Just because I don't want to overreact to one season and now flip them suddenly again when Kelsey's also now 32.
Yards after catch, Kittle actually led the league prior to last year. He actually led the league in, if you combine 2018 and 19, he actually led the league in yards after catch. Something to consider.
Athletically, Kittle is superior to Kelsey. Like Kittle's kind of a next level athlete compared to Travis Kelce.
He's an unbelievable athlete,
and I think it's banking on that more than anything.
So to me, it's this.
That's fair.
Kittle, like, I get it. He's a great asset to San Francisco 49ers and anything, but like, I mean, they did upgrade their quarterback, that's for sure. But they are a run first offense, no matter what. But
can I interject something here real quick? This is what I love about fantasy, because when you really boil it down, what we're arguing about is, would you rather have a Rolls Royce, a Lamborghini, or a Ferrari? And we're all nitpicking the other ones. Like, well, the problem is a Ferrari doesn't really get great gas mileage. You know how much the insurance is on a Lamborghini? It's like, I would take any of them. Like, give me whichever one I can get, I will take that one. So that's what really, like, I love about it. It's like none of the choices are bad. They're all fantastic choices.
So no one. So Kelsey, Kittle, right? Does anyone else have another tight end as tight end 1 in Dynasty, or we're all agreement it's got to be one of those two?
It's one of those two for me.
Because some people will say
it doesn't really matter to me, to be honest with you. It's like 1A, 1B, and 1C.
So let me ask a different question. Let me ask a different question then. Out of all the tight ends that you have outside your top 6, who do you feel like has the best shot of finishing inside the top 6? Or top 5?
Wait, can I answer that?
Yeah,
can I answer that?
Go ahead, Doc.
The one that's outside of everything that I has a legitimate chance to finish as a top 6 tight end is Ertz.
Oh, wow. Okay, hold on.
Ertz.
Who?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a couple of ways that could happen. He could get traded. He could stay where he's at. And what happened last year, flip-flops. And Dallas Goedert is supposed to be the starter. He's supposed to be the backup. Goddard gets hurt. Ertz comes in and has a great year. I mean, he didn't really do anything to lose his job other than he tried to gut out a high ankle sprain. If he's healed now and he can play, I mean, he's still a great tight end. Like, he was the tight end 4 or 5 last year, and nothing's really changed. Yes, I know he's 30 years old, but I see a lot of pathways where he could potentially be the tight end 6. I'm not going to put him higher than that, but you said top 6. 6 is in the top 6, and I think he could finish the year as a top 6 tight end. It's not beyond
There's a lot to consider there, though. They brought in the weapons that they have now versus what they had last year. Smith, they drafted. Kenneth Gainwell, someone who's going really underrated. And again, we can talk about that probably another time because I'm a huge Kenneth Gainwell believer. I wish he had gone to the Bucs, but hey.
But I think Doc's saying that he's going to get traded away, though. I think that's what he's hoping.
Well, the question was, which of the tight ends that I think could finish in the top 6? Not was absolutely definitely going to, but he could finish in the top 6, and he's outside the top. He's actually outside the top 20 right now.
Well, that's easy for me.
Do you think there's a better chance of that, Doc, if he gets traded?
Oh, hell
honestly,
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it could. It's like I don't want to evaluate how it's going to happen. I'm just thinking there's multiple ways it could happen, and that's one of them.
I think Buffalo. If he gets traded to Buffalo, I think that's the path for him to be a top 6. Right, you get the better because I find it hard to think that Jalen Hurts is going to create the top 6 tight end, or I suppose if he gets traded to Colts back to Carson Wentz, he's done that with Hurts before. But
I'm thinking in that scenario he stays put. Goddard gets hurt because it could happen, and then he's last man standing.
It happened last year. Didn't Goddard get hurt early in the season last year?
Goddard, you mean, or
Goddard did get hurt?
Goddard, yeah. I thought Goddard got hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt just not as bad as Ertz did.
Well, I think Goddard missed more time. Like so the injury might have been just as severe, but he actually missed time. Whereas, like you said, Ertz actually gutted out on the field.
Yeah, he was able to come back and recover.
Yeah, Ertz played hurt all year.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Moving on to our. So real quick, guys, give me sleepers for each position with 1 or 2 sentences as to why, because we have to move on to our next segment. So. Kyle, I'll start with you. Quarterbacks. Give me 1 sleeper and why in 1 or 2 sentences.
I actually wonder if it is Carson Wentz. Maybe he's gotten a little bit of a hit, especially how poor he played last year, and people judging based just on those numbers. I think the situation's much better than what how the offensive line completely dissolved. The receivers, like we were just talking about, they were all hurt. Not necessarily to say that like it's an amazing receiver core in Indy, but I think that the offensive line, the coaching staff, just the offensive system in general seems like it's in line for Wentz to have that kind of bounce back. So.
That's more than 2 sentences, Kyle.
It was kind of like a giant run-on sentence.
Trey Lance. Rushing upside. Great offense scheme.
Doc.
Kellen Mond. Cousins gets cut. Cousins walks or he gets hurt.
For me, it's got to be Justin Fields. I love Justin Fields. I hate the landing spot, but I think he is somebody in Dynasty that if you can still buy for value right now is the time, because once the season starts and he actually starts playing, I think it's going to be hard to get him because I think his talent is that good that he's going to be able to take this Bears offense to the next level. And finally, Allen Robinson, and actually he's a bonus sleeper, can finish as a top 10 wide receiver.
He did last year without Fields, so yeah, I think he definitely can again.
Now that is a run-on sentence right there, Hammond.
That is a run-on sentence. All right, sleeper at running back. G.
Oh, I thought you were going to go to Kyle. Damn you.
I am ready. I've got one on if you need.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So it's I guess if we end up doing the most rostered player segment, I guess mine's the same answer for this, but it's Nyheim Hines.
I like that one.
I just think he's going to catch a lot of passes regardless. Yeah.
As a sleeper, okay. I thought you were saying like top running.
Well, whatever. No. Sleeper, rank too low, whatever.
Well, yeah, I do have a lot of Nyheim Hines, right? And that's kind of the point because he is so cheap.
No, while we're on this subject, talk to us about JaMychal Hasty just real quick, because you own him on a bunch of your Dynasty rosters. I was curious. That one really stuck out to me. Not that I'm a dislike JaMychal Hasty, but specifically.
Well, he's free. Like literally, like most of these were either late rookie drafts last year that I just held them on taxi squads, or a couple of those shares I've literally picked up in the last couple of weeks off waivers for free, $0 fab bids, and I've gotten them. So I think the fact that he's free, so easy to get. I like his pass catching upside, his route running ability, and this is super in on the player evaluation and him specifically. I think he could be the best pass catching back in that backfield because you've got a lot of guys that. Capable pass catchers, but don't really have like huge pass catching profiles at any point in their careers, college or professional. Wayne Gallman, Raheem Mostert, Elijah Mitchell, Trey Sermon. None of those guys have like massive pass catching profiles. Hasty kind of does. I mean, he was a 25 a season reception guy in college, and he kind of showed it a bit last year. They even as a rookie, they were letting him catch passes. So I think if he makes the team, he might be their pass catching back.
That's interesting.
All right, G, you're a sleeper at running back.
Hey, I've been touting this, I think, the last 3 shows that I've been with you, Doc and Hamid, and now Kyle 2 shows. Trey Sermon. It's an ambiguous backfield. You don't know what's going to happen. And I love the JaMychal Hasty situation. Is that Michael? My bad. I love the JaMychal Hasty situation because I think I told you guys I was in IDP league and I think I got him in the 53rd round, like for free. But that's what I do. I look for running backs that I think are in bad situations. You don't know who it is. And if you hit, you hit. James Robinson last year, I hit on him probably in 3 leagues. Cool. I'll take that value.
All right. And for me, it's going to be Michael Carter. He's owned in less than half of the fantasy football leagues based off of NFL. Go and pick up this guy. He's available in more than half the leagues. Now, granted, the biggest competition he has with the Jets is Tevin Coleman and the offense. That is his competition. I think he is going to be someone that is going to rise in Dynasty in the upcoming season. He's already getting, good praise from the coaches, and I think he has the highest upside and the best skill set on that team in the running back room. No one better tell me Tevin Coleman is a legitimate shot at winning this running back room because he's not.
I think he does to start the year. He knows the offense and he's a veteran, but we don't need to get into that.
It won't surprise me at all. It won't surprise me at all if Tevin Coleman does start the year as the RB1, but I'd be shocked if Michael Carter eventually did not take over that role.
Is it Josh Adams, G?
No, it's Lamar.
Yeah, I know. I'm messing with you. I knew it was P. Ryan. I'm just joking with you.
That train already derailed.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
Hey, Adam Gase derailed too to a fucking high school job, okay? And he's not the head coach at the high school job. He's the assistant coach. Good God.
It might be too much for him. They might need to demote him to just Water
boy.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I kind of answered the question, right? The second point that I was going to make now is about the least or most owned players that you feel like is either too high or too low. We'll keep this also to a sentence. Kyle, I'll start with you. Who is a player that you feel like is not owned enough?
Ooh. Yeah, this is tricky because I would say JaMychal Hasty, right? Because I'm sure he's only on probably 30 to 40% of rosters, right? Where he should, if you've got that upside chance at running backs, I'm taking shots at all those 49ers running backs if I can. Gallman, Mitchell. It's just, to me, Hasty's the freest. That's why I'm in on him. I'll pay the least amount to get in on that. But I think all of those guys, even Trey Sermon, I think it's somewhat of a value because it's so ambiguous. So I could argue really any of the 49ers running backs because they're
so Hasty's on only 27.8% of the fantasy league. So he's available. He's practically free. What about you? Oh, sorry, Kyle.
No, go ahead. Just go with Gerson.
No, go ahead, Kyle. Go ahead.
What do you have? More time? Well, do you have? Maybe it's me giving a different answer, but Devin Singletary, what's his rostership like? Because he should be close to 100%, really.
I'll tell you right now, he definitely won't be. Let's see, Singletary. He is owned in 95.4%.
Okay, I guess that's probably close to where it should be because who knows who's the lead back in Buffalo? I like taking shots at both of them. But I find Moss is always going ahead of Singletary in drafts, so I'm getting more Singletary shares just because he seems to be cheaper than Moss, and I kind of view them pretty close. In my rankings, Moss is higher, but I guess so is the consensus, and I'm just not getting that opportunity to get very much Moss.
This is maddening. Why is Devin Singletary owned more than J.K. Dobbins and Cam Akers in NFL? I need to go join NFL.
I'm guessing that this information is not the most accurate for some.
Yeah, it might not be the best.
Well, no. J.K. Dobbins is owned in 95.25%, and Singletary is owned in 96%.
Is this Dynasty, though?
This is most owned in all leagues across the entire platform.
Okay, so it might be redraft. That's probably.
Yeah, I might be including some redraft numbers here. I'm not sure. I agree with you.
As of yesterday, Tamori and Terry was owned in 15% of leagues, and he just got arrested on an attempted murder charge. So I don't know how accurate it is. It's grain of salt. They're off by 3 percentage points. Take a pill. It's over 90%. Relax.
Yeah, he killed his value.
All right, G, who's
murdered that joke?
Who's your not owned enough player?
Are we including rookie?
Rookies and non-rookies alike. Anyone you want.
Hold on. I just had him. Sorry. Shit. Crap.
You want me to go?
Yeah,
go ahead, Doc.
All right. It's Tyrell Williams from Detroit. Recency bias. Hurt his shoulder last year. Could be the Lions' de facto number one. Last 3 years, He averaged 42, 677, and 5. He did have over 8 games with 10 PPR points per game. He's essentially free. Great, unloved vet, unsexy, flex play by injury filler. You can't beat it.
Yeah, I'm seeing him at Fantasy Pros has him as the ECR at wide receiver 130.
Yeah, I mean,
That's madness.
Jalen Hurd's ahead of him, and I don't think Jalen Hurd's ever played an NFL game.
there you go. So
G, you ready?
that's my guy.
Yeah, I got it. It's OJ Howard. I think OJ Howard right now, his value is the lowest it can be because basically everybody's either moving on from him, but he's in a contract year, and that actually, if you believe it or not, he makes more money right now in his rookie year contract than Rob Gronkowski and Antonio Brown. So like that tells you something. His talent's still there. They picked up his contract. They're hoping it pans out because he got hurt last year. I think he tore his ACL, right? What was it?
Was it his Achilles though?
Yeah, or ACL. It was like a season-ending injury, but I think if I can get OJ Howard right now, maybe for a 3rd or 4th round pick, I'm gonna take it. I think OJ Howard, the talent is still there. He drafted 15th overall, and you want to take risk on tight end with athleticism. I always do that no matter what. And I think OJ Howard, if I can get him that cheap, I'm gonna take it.
All right. So with that, guys, the show was great. I'm gonna leave with the bonus. Bryan Edwards only 67% of leagues. Go pick him up. You have to go pick him up. I think he's the best receiver on that team. Darren Waller doesn't count. He's a tight end, obviously, but yes, he's gonna lead that team in receptions. But go pick up Bryan Edwards or trade for him. He's dirt cheap. He's better than Henry Ruggs. He's a better route runner. Has better hands than him too. But given that last year was his rookie year, no preseason, no training camp, so that took a lot of time for him. The learning curve was pretty big for him. So I would say pick him up. With that said, guys, this was a great show. I feel like there's so much more we could talk about, but we'll be talking about ADP, Dynasty ADPs next week. So tune in for that. I'll see you all next week. Have a good one, guys.